The House of Representatives is voting on its third ballot for House Speaker. Right now, it appears Congressman Jim Jordan has lost that third bid for the speakership. This comes after Jordan announced he would not drop out of the race this morning. ABC's Jay O'Brien joins me now from Capitol Hill for more. Looks like Jordan wasn't able to gain enough support to be elected speaker here. Jay, what do you make of these numbers?
Yeah, and he actually lost more Republicans this time around than he lost last time around. The last time we voted, remember, was Wednesday. They took a break on Thursday, all tried to get on the same page. That was unsuccessful, and now we're voting again today. And there are two Republicans who previously voted for Jim Jordan on the second ballot that now on this third ballot did not vote for him. Their names, Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania, Tom Kean, who voted for Kevin McCarthy as well. And so Jim Jordan is losing more votes than he has picked up. He's picked up 0. Nobody's flipped from no to yes on Jim Jordan so far in this ballot, but 2 have flipped from essentially yes to no. So things not trending well for Jim Jordan. As you said, certainly on track, it appears, to lose this ballot. The question facing Jim Jordan when all is said and done, and if he does lose this ballot, is what do we do now? Do we go back for a second vote today or not?
Jay, one of the main reasons some Republican tractors said that they won't budge on Jordan, there are a few, but one of those being cited is a lack of legislative experience. McCarthy tried to push back on that in his nomination speech today. What do you make of the response? It doesn't seem to have done much, being we're looking at 19 other votes already, meaning Republicans, 19 of them voting for someone other than Jim Jordan.
Yeah, and just the fact, first and foremost, just the fact that Kevin McCarthy, the former Speaker of the House, who had broad support in the Republican conference, save for those 8 Republicans who voted to oust him, nominated Jim Jordan, was huge. It was an attempt, it appeared, while watching that speech on the floor, of McCarthy to say to Republicans, I'm passing the torch to Jim Jordan. He even made a point to say he believes Jim Jordan is the best person to succeed him in the Speaker's chair. And then he said, to your point about that criticism of Jim Jordan, who has never written a bill in general and never been a co-sponsor on any legislation that's passed, he said that Republicans were using the wrong measuring stick. And he said it's a demonstration that Jim Jordan is selfless and a means of saying that Jim Jordan doesn't want the credit for passing legislation. But nonetheless, despite Kevin McCarthy giving his full-throated endorsement to Jim Jordan, a guy who's still, Kevin McCarthy, a guy who's still popular amongst House Republicans, it wasn't enough to move any needles right now, Diane, because, again, nobody has moved from a no to a yes on Jim Jordan in this ballot.
So, Jay, what are the options now? This isn't exactly a small number of detractors. You're looking at 19 already voting for someone other than Jordan. You said you spoke to 22 of them last night. So what happens now as they head into the weekend?
So, and it's interesting because I spoke with a Republican source right before this vote began. And this Republican source is involved in a lot of these ongoing conversations with the Jordan team, but also with the holdouts. And one of the things this person told me is they don't know what the plan is. They're not getting an understanding from Jim Jordan's team. And this person isn't on Jim Jordan's immediate team, but they're not getting an understanding of even what the direction is and what the plan is. And there were a lot of questions about the efficacy, as Rick noted earlier in our coverage, of that press conference that Jim Jordan held so early in the morning, 8 a.m. this morning, to say that he wasn't dropping out of the race. And so there were a lot of Republicans, to your point, questioning really what happens next. Jim Jordan seemed to indicate this morning that he wanted to stay in the fight and he wanted to have multiple ballots. And so the question facing him today is, do we have multiple ballots today? Does he try to hash this out on the floor, kind of like what Kevin McCarthy did? Or does he take another break and reevaluate? And the reason why I mentioned taking a break and reevaluating is because you got to remember the tempo of Jim Jordan. You and I were both on the air for hours on end during the McCarthy speaker fight. And one of the reasons we were on the air for hours on end is because the votes were in rapid succession. McCarthy would lose a vote, and then they'd call another vote. And then he'd lose a vote, and then they'd call another vote. And they were on the floor for hours. Jim Jordan had a vote on Tuesday, lost. They took a break. Had a vote on Wednesday, lost. They took a break for all day Thursday to try to get behind closed doors and hash this out. That was unsuccessful. And now they're having their third vote today. So the tempo of votes that Jim Jordan is doing is nowhere near the tempo of votes tempo of votes we saw Kevin McCarthy do. And so the question facing Jim Jordan in the immediate, let alone what are you going to do about these 21 now holdout votes, but the immediate question he's facing is, do you want to up the tempo and hold another vote right after this one?
I'm sure there are many in Congress hoping that's not the case. 21 now other votes, Republicans voting for someone other than Jim Jordan, so it appears he has again lost this third bid for House Speaker. Jay O'Brien on Capitol Hill. Jay, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.